Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Jay Cohn. Well, tonight the nation mourns the death of former First Lady Barbara Bush, who died today at her home in Houston.
Tonight, condolences are pouring into the Bush family from across the nation and around the world. The former First Lady had declined further medical treatment to prolong her life.
Mrs. Bush was 92 years old. CBS News correspondent Kenneth Craig tonight takes a look at her life and legacy.
Former First Lady Barbara Pierce Bush's political roots ran deep. She was a distant cousin to the nation's 14th president, Franklin Pierce, but America knew her as the matriarch of a political dynasty, the wife of the 41st president, mother of the 43rd president, and a governor.
I'd love to have a hug.
And she liked to think of herself as everybody's grandmother.
And speaking of glamour, I want you all to look at me very carefully. Please notice the hair, the makeup, designer clothes.
But her legacy is literacy. As First Lady, she launched a campaign to help people learn to read.
If more people could read, write, and comprehend, we would be that much closer to solving so many of the problems that plague our nation.
Mrs. Bush was 16 when she met George Herbert Walker Bush during a Christmas break. She left college to marry Mr. Bush after he returned home a hero from World War II. She had 6 children and lost a daughter to leukemia at the age of 3. She avoided any public involvement in her husband's role as commander-in-chief. But when President Bush fell ill at a state dinner in Tokyo, White House staffers called on Mrs. Bush to calm international concern about the president's health.
But I'm beginning to think it's the ambassador's fault. He and George played the Emperor and the Crown Prince in tennis today, and they were badly beaten. And we Bushes aren't used to that.
Barbara Bush will be remembered as a gracious First Lady who headed one of the nation's most prominent political families. Kenneth Craig, CBS News.
Funeral plans for Mrs. Bush have not yet been announced.
Well, it's no secret the most expensive Montana campaign this year will be the race for the U.S. Senate seat held by Democrat Jon Tester.
The major party candidates have just filed their latest finance reports. MTN's Mike Dennison tonight shows us the latest numbers and the source of some of the money.
3 of the 4 Republicans competing to challenge Tester have each raised about $1 million or more for their campaigns so far. But they've reached that total by very different routes. Big Sky businessman Troy Downing has largely self-funded his effort, financing $1 million of his $1.3 million campaign with his own money. State Auditor Matt Rosendale has raised about $1 million for his campaign. He has plenty of Montana contributors, but is also relying on national fundraising networks. The Conservative Club for Growth and the Senate Conservatives Fund have guided donors his way from across the country, and he has donors from every state in the union. Former State District Judge Russell Fagg of Billings has raised $932,000. The majority of his money is from inside the state. At least 2/3 has come from individual Montanans. The 4th Republican in the race, State Senator Al Osseski of Kalispell, has raised just $233,000, including $103,000 from his own pocket. Most of his donors are from Montana. And then there's the big dog in this race, the incumbent, Democratic U.S. Senator Jon Tester. He reported last week that he raised $2 million in just the first 3 months of this year, pushing his campaign total so far to $11.3 million. Tester also has spent more than $4 million of that total, but as of March 31st, he still had nearly $7 million remaining in his campaign account. Tester has thousands of Montana donors, but he's getting the bulk of his funds from individuals and political action committees from outside the state. And whoever wins the Republican primary election on June 5th, they'll probably start out near ground zero on the money front, up against Tester's multi-million-dollar mountain of cash. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks, Mike. Now, the race will also include a Libertarian and a Green Party candidate this fall.
Democratic congressional hopeful Grant Kier endorsed today by the Montana Teamsters Union. Now, while candidate endorsements are nothing new for the Teamsters, endorsing a candidate in a crowded primary field is, in fact, this is the first time The union has picked sides in a primary since 2006. That's when it endorsed John Tester for Senate. Kier, the former director of 2 separate Montana land trusts, was on the campaign trail here in Billings today.
I come from a home where I was raised by a single mom. I know what it's like to struggle every day to make ends meet, and I know the value of a paycheck and a fair wage for hard work. And I think it's really important that we have leaders stepping forward right now who are committed to taking care of everyday Montanans and making sure that everybody has a fair deal.
The Montana Teamsters Union currently has as many as 1,900 members in the state.
Tonight, a new controversy for the Eastern Montana Catholic Diocese, this time between a Great Falls priest and the Billings Catholic school system.
A young outspoken priest who grew up and attended Billings Catholic schools posting statements online that condemn the system for allowing what he calls a prominent homosexual couple to chair its largest fundraiser. That post drawing hundreds of comments, a majority of them critical of the priest, while some support his stance.
Father Ryan Erlenbush posted this, quote, "You know a Catholic school has lost its way when a prominent homosexual couple is advertised as the chairs for the annual fundraiser. Why would any Catholic, indeed any Christian, attend or donate to Mayfair 2018? What does a Catholic school have to do before people say enough and take their kids and their money elsewhere?"
Q2's Dustin Kleeman had a chance to speak with the Billings Catholic Schools Foundation this afternoon to get their reaction. Dustin.
Good evening, Jay and Jeanelle. I'm told the foundation is focused on Mayfair. That is the Billings Catholic Schools' largest fundraiser, and the foundation is backing the 6 event chair members. The foundation hopes the event will raise more than $500,000 for more than the 1,000 students who attend the schools. Already today, a number of donations have poured in light of the priest's comments.
All the money goes to the Billings Catholic Schools. We've got a tremendous amount of support for our chairs, for Mayfair, for our schools. We are truly blessed. We've been able to accomplish a lot. We've got a brand new school, and we've got donors who they trust what we're doing.
Hayter reiterated the Billings Catholic Schools are inclusive and committed to providing a Catholic education to anyone. After numerous attempts, we have not heard back from the Roman Catholic Diocese of Great Falls, Billings. We'll let you know if they do. Jay and Jeanelle.
All right, thanks, Dustin.
And Dustin tells us this year's Mayfair is scheduled for the 5th of May.
After 2 months of deliberation, the Park County, Wyoming School Board has agreed to arm its teachers. In a 4-2 vote tonight, the majority felt guns would make the schools safer for children. Students, parents, and community members packed the teeny meeting room, expressing both concern and support for the motion in its 3rd and final reading. One trustee said this does not guarantee a gun for every teacher. Teachers must have a concealed carry permit and pass a series of internal background checks.
As the University of Montana deals with declining enrollment and a $10 million budget deficit, the school's new president today outlined a series of program cuts and staff reductions. That plan includes cutting as many as 50 full-time faculty positions over the next 3 years. President Seth Bodner was quite frank that the sharp slide in enrollment at UM has not been helped by a past decision to limit the school's marketing effort. That funding, he says, he plans to restore. He also says there is no way UM can continue to do everything it does now and do it well, suggesting perhaps further program reorganization and realignment. Bodner also says this is just the beginning of what he calls an ongoing conversation at UM.
One woman is dead after an engine exploded today on a Southwest flight headed for Dallas. The left side engine failed, sending shrapnel into the fuselage and blowing out a window. Passengers who tried to hold on to the woman describe her body being pulled toward the opening, actually hanging out of the plane for several minutes. The pilot, a former military pilot, is being credited with the emergency landing in Philadelphia. An initial report shows evidence of a missing fan blade in the engine.
Turning to the weather scene, no shortage of moisture in this part of the world, Bob, but a much different story elsewhere.
Oh, in the Southwest, they're seeing so much dry and drought conditions. Let me show you what the drought monitor shows you there. You can see basically from California through Arizona, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Texas. And let me show you just how dry it is in Texas. Amarillo, Texas today, they had a 1/4 inch of rain since the year began. That's it. That's all they've had. On the outer edges of it, Oklahoma City, they've had 3.5 inches. But look what happened in the driest area of Oklahoma. This is a town called Sealing. It's a few miles southeast of Woodward, Oklahoma. Oklahoma. These fires just broke out today, and they're so far 0% contained. They're just a mess here, and as you can see, the smoke is just pluming. This is the beginning of their fire season, and it kind of reminds me of what could happen here a few years ago, and we could see that happen here. If we can continue to see moisture here in Montana, we'll probably be okay, but boy, it's getting pretty bad down in the south. We'll have your forecast in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Up next on tonight's 10 o'clock news, Montana made a small appearance in a big show tonight. Did you catch the local references in tonight's NCIS?
And later in sports, the drama of Q2's Athlete of the Week becoming MSUB's home run queen.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.